Welcome back to Biznomics, your weekend's most profitable 60 minutes. Our focus today is on improving the negotiation skills, a skill which is quite underrated and underestimated, but essential for any manager, team leader, or business entrepreneur. And joining me for this discussion is an expert in the field of negotiations, Mr. Tissa Dissanayaka. Tissa, now let's talk about a different type of negotiations. Trade unions, to a certain extent, ends up being a nightmare for some of the business leaders. They like to avoid it as much as possible, but sometimes there is no choice. For a business leader who is actually getting ready for a trade union negotiation, what is your advice?
Tharindu, this is a very emotional and power-packed negotiation area.
No easy way out.
No easy way out, but I have one advice. It's a simple thing that could change the perspectives of the negotiation with the unions. Try to write the victory speech of your negotiating counterpart. Let me repeat. Try to write the victory speech of your negotiating counterpart.
What that person will say at the end of the negotiation.
Now, assume if you are representing employee federation and you are negotiating with the union, yes, very powerful union. As an employer, can you write the victory speech of the union leader? You know what it takes? It takes you to dive deep into their pain, their issues, problems, what their interest, their demand, and their mindset. This, you need a lot of empathy to do that. If an employer wants to write the victory speech of a union leader, he has to view it from their point of view. This is where the skill, remember that lean skill, listening and empathy. Empathy of this speech, empathy of the negotiation. If you have the empathy, you are able to view it from their angle, their perspective. It's not that easy, Tharindu. You have to go deeper into their problems, what they are looking for, why they are demanding, is they have a genuine case. Often, why this trade union negotiation fail is the stereotyping. Before the union people come to the negotiation table, employee already know what to say and what they are demanding. What is important is this prototyping. Decide the merit of each case. Forget about history of the union, whether they have supportive or destructive.
That's one thing I want to ask you there. Most of the time when it comes to negotiations, we tend to associate, because both parties coming to the table, Tissa, they are coming with certain baggage, right? If you're the union and if I'm the employer, when I'm come to the table, you're thinking of the last 10 years of whatever unfair things I may have done. And I'm thinking about the last 10 years of instances where the employees have not supported something of the company, isn't it? But that baggage we bring about with us sometimes tend to be so heavy that it breaks down the purpose of this exact negotiation. Am I right?
Tharindu, negotiation fails even before reaching meeting person to person.
In the mind.
In the minds, and they are playing it prelude to the negotiations. If this not happen, we will close the factory. That was the message that they sent, which is prejudice. Both parties need to be mindful and be open-minded. This is where the empathy plays. If you want a great negotiator, get into the other man's shoes and see it from their angle. You know, the famous emotional intelligence guru, Daniel Goleman, said, empathy is your ability to understand the emotional makeup of the other. It doesn't mean that you have to be nice every time.
Correct. But you understand.
You have to understand what's going on in their mind, and it's a advantage as a negotiator if you can understand the mind of the other person.
Understood.
You don't have to take the responsibility for their emotions.
Yes.
But just
understand.
It's called the perspective taking.
Understanding them is one aspect. And then when you come to the table and when, let's say, they are throwing their demand, let's say they are throwing very unfair demands, maybe asking for very high salary increases at a time that the whole economy and the company is really struggling. I'm sure this is nothing new. You face these very regularly. Yeah. What do you do? How do you keep your face calm and straight in such circumstances?
Tharindu, very simple. Smile. When you smile, 40 odd muscles are activated and it releases dopamine, and that gives you a positive outlook and confident look, and that also create the mirror neuron of the negotiating counterparts also activated with that, and they also feel the positive feelings.
Interesting.
Often, the moment we enter to the negotiation room, we call it a battleground. So they call it a battleground. That room, the smile disappears.
Yes. The tension, the pressure.
The tension, pressure, smile disappears. The other one is making the proper eye contact. And they don't make the proper eye contact. When you don't make a proper eye contact, the trust factor diminished. One of the key elements of creating a trust is, in negotiation, is the making proper eye contact. Smile, making a proper eye contact. And be a good listener.
Listen well.
Listen well. Start with these low-hanging fruits. Before you even think about demands, 21 demands we are very famous with, Viseka, Illim Viseka. Before that, just smile, make proper eye contact, listen, greet well, treat them well, build a rapport.
And they say every time something is agreed upon, appreciate it and recognize, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you show that it was a valuable discussion.
That's an incremental positiveness. Another reason why they failed is, Tharindu, if you look at the most of the negotiations that happen in the industry, whatever the industry they are, there are 90% of the demands, or they call it points, that everyone can achieve, or they can agree. We call it a common and joint interest, shared interest. But there are only 10% or 5% that both parties cannot agree.
Correct.
We throw everything out based
Because
on
of
that
that.
5%. My suggestion is, agree where you can agreeable. Start with that, because that creates the positive environment.
Excellent thoughts.
And then build upon step by step. And once we reach that difficult 10% or 5%, most of the other areas are, your perspectives has been changed, how you receive and view each other has been improved. Even if there are genuine difficulties on agreeing certain things I cannot agree.
Yes.
And you can still conclude the negotiation without, with the future date to continue, or without having any difficult feeling.